published 2016 est, the 3rd of December 2017 updated 2157 est, the 3rd of December 2017. Are you dreading this year's Christmas parties, worried that you'll embarrass yourself by forgetting people's names? Well, I have good news for you. My memory system, which I've honed over many decades, will ensure that you'll always be able to put a name to a face. I've shown in front of audiences that I can remember up to 1,500 names of people I've only just met. Here's how you can use the same tricks. 5 golden rules. First, you need to learn the basic rules for remembering names. If you apply them properly, I guarantee that you'll improve your memory for names by about 20%. Then, if you want to take care of the remaining 80%, I'll teach you the rest of the system. Rule 1. Be sure you properly hear what the other person has said. It's not embarrassing to say, "Sorry, I didn't get your name." Rule 2. Now try to spell the name. Oh, is that L-O-R-R-A-I-N-E? The great thing about doing this is that you'll be corrected if you're wrong. No, it's L-O-R-A-N-E, and that gives you more time to recall the name. But what if it's an easy tossable name, like Jones or Carter? Don't worry about looking an idiot. The person will still feel flattered because you're showing an interest. Memory expert Harry Lorraine believes his system can ensure you remember the names of people you've just met. Rule 3. Make a remark about the name. You might say that it's a name you've heard before, for instance, or that you went to school with someone of the same name. If you think it's an unusual name, it's fine to say that, too. Any remark will do. Again, you're showing an interest. Rule 4. Use the name during your initial conversation. Don't go overboard with this rule, or it will sound forced. But try to introduce the name seamlessly into your chat. For instance, "Gosh Jim, I never thought of it that way." Rule 5. Use the name again when you say goodbye. Don't just say, "I'll see you later." Instead, say, "I'll see you later, Julia." My fail-safe visual tricks. All right, that was the easy part. But what I'm going to teach you next really won't take much effort at all. And it should guarantee that you'll never again be at a loss for someone's name. When you're introduced to someone new, you will simply make his or her name visible in your mind by coming up with a substitute word or thought for it. Eventually, you'll be able to do this with any name, no matter what its length or complexity. Let's start with what I call zip names, because they're the type that tend to zip in one ear and straight out of the other, without lodging in the memory. Say you've just been introduced to Mr. Pukshiva, pronounced Pukshiva. You're going to start by breaking his name into syllables, Pukshiva, and then forming an image in your mind. In his case, you might visualize an ice hockey puck shivering, and suddenly all those consonants would become memorable. Pukshiva, Pukshiva. Harry advises thinking of a substitute word for a person's name to make it visible in your mind. File Imagem Smolensky. Smolensky. This time, if you imagine a small lens camera, or contact lens skiing, then the name no longer zips past. Now I'll give you a few names that I've broken down into similar sounding words. See if you can form your own visual images from each of these. Morales, Jeffries, Afriscusic, Cusack, Kenzie, Meekensie, Thompson, Thump, Sons, Locum, Slocum. Some people are easy, of course. Many names already have a meaning, such as Brown, Taylor, Hart, Barnes, Green, Rivers, Wood, Shaw and Piper, so linking them to an image is even simpler. And there's another category of names, those that automatically conjure up a related image. The name Caruso, for example, might well make you think of an opera singer. Hudson or Jordan might make you think of a river. Campbell might make you see a can of soup. He says a name with a meaning, a personal association, can also help memory. File image. Personal experience also works. When I hear the name Browning, I visualize a Browning automatic rifle, a weapon I was quite familiar with during World War II. A childhood friend of mine named Elliot was a tennis nut. So whenever I hear the name Elliot, I think of tennis. After you've used my substitute words and thoughts principle for a while, you'll form standard images for certain names. For example, I always visualize a blacksmith's hammer for Smith, a garden for Gordon, an ice cream cone for Cohen. The same is true for common prefixes and suffixes. For MC, a Mac, I see a Macintosh for sun, the sun for berg, an iceberg for law, a judge's gavel for bam, a bomb, and so on. Remember that it's better for you to come up with your own substitute words and thoughts, your very own ridiculous pictures. The ones I've given you aren't likely to stick in your mind, because you haven't used your imagination. That's what really locks in a name. Now Tom, Dick and Harry. For first names, come up with a substitute word of thought in exactly the same way as you would for a surname. For Bill, I always see a dollar bill. For Mary, a wedding. Mary George, Jaws Harry, Harry Sylvia, Silver Bernard, Bernhard Thomas Thomas, Tom Tom Drums Tony, Tony Robert, Robert Jim, Jim Anita, and Antita Mike, microphone, and so forth. He advises using a substitute word for first names and surnames, e.g. Sylvia, silver file image. Now you have a go. Think of a substitute word of thought for the following: Bob, Bruce, Wendy, Sally, Phyllis, Ernie, Dennis, Molly, Douglas, Nancy, Ashley, Thelma, Ben, Harold, Gary, Richard, Carl, Victoria, Anthony, Boris, Fred, Donald, Edward, Lillian, Gladys, Alex, Andy, Mark, Vincent, Walter, John, Isabel. Job lot. It's not complicated if you want to remember both Christian and surname. Include a substitute word of thought for each in your mental image. If you like, you can also include something that will remind you that the person is, say, a doctor, a teacher, an army general, an actor, or a writer. It's easy if you thread it all together into the one memorable image. Here's an example. You meet a Dr. Harry Gordon and you'd like to remember his full name and the fact that he's a doctor. Personally, I'd visualize a garden Gordon. It would be a hairy Harry garden, with hair covering the foliage and the flowers. And there would be some gigantic stethoscopes growing in it, too. See? It's effortless. Big ears. A face to remember. Oh, I recognize your face, but I don't remember your name. During my long career as a memory expert, I've heard this remark thousands of times. But I've never heard it the other way around. I remember your name, but I don't recognize your face. This makes perfect sense, because most of us are visually minded as opposed to audio minded. That is, we remember what we see much better than what we hear. So when it comes to names and faces, why not take advantage of the fact that it's the face we usually recognize? Harry advises also connecting the substitute word with a memorable feature file image. A lady in her 80s once told me that she was starting to have trouble remembering all the names of her many grandchildren. Then she started to apply the system I'm about to teach you, and the problem was solved. You've already applied the first step, hearing a name and deciding on a substitute word of thought in order to make that name meaningful. Now, look at the person's face and select what you think is his or her outstanding feature. It can be anything: high forehead, low forehead, bald head, thick eyebrows, arched eyebrows, close-set eyes, big or small ears, large earlobes, big nose, sunken cheeks, wide mouth, mustache, beard, thin lips, cleft in chin, wrinkles, warts, pimples, dimples. What you select may not be what someone else would select as the outstanding feature, but that doesn't matter. It's what's outstanding to you that counts. So look, really look, at the face. Now, connect your substitute word of thought for the name to the outstanding feature of the face. You want one to remind you of the other. Let's say you've just been introduced to Mr. Smith. You think of a blacksmith's hammer and you decide to connect that to his obvious to you thick lips. My own image would be of the blacksmith's hammer hammering those lips, which is what's making them thick. Thick lips Smith. Make sure you properly visualize this silly mental image, because the tendency when meeting a Jones or a Smith is to think, oh, there's no way I'll forget an easy name like that. No need to bother with a mental picture. Then, of course, that's the one you don't remember. Mr. Robram has bushy eyebrows. See a bottle of rum over each eye instead of eyebrows and you rob them. Bushy eyebrows Robram. That's it. Next time you see those people, you definitely remember their names. Mind you, I'm often asked by someone who's yet to apply this system in real life, but what if I see Mr. Robram again and, yes, the bushy eyebrows reminds me of robbing rum, but I call him Mr. Rum Rob instead of Mr. Robram? The answer is that this won't happen because true memory tells you the correct name. Remember, my systems are simply aids to your fabulous God-given memory. It's your true memory that will take over once you've met Mr. Robram a few times without even thinking of the image for his name. You'll find you know it anyway. To put my system into practice, start by assigning made-up names to pictures of faces in this newspaper. Apply the system you've just learned to a few pictures, then go back and see if you remember the names. After that, you can start using the system on all the people you meet. I promise that you'll start to see results right away. In fact, here's a guarantee: the first time you try my system for remembering names and faces in a small group of people, you'll remember 50% more names than you ever did before. The second time you try it, you'll remember 75% more. And the third time, 100% more. As I explained in Saturday's mail, I know of no better mental exercise than simply to apply my trained memory techniques. But to break up the process, every so often I also like to throw in a riddle, a puzzle, a thought-provoker. Practice these intermittently to exercise your brain. You'll find you have fun with them, just as you'll have fun with my memory training systems. Point 1. Count your chickens. This will take a bit of thinking and experimenting. That, as you know by now, is the whole point. The trying to work it out, the thinking and the experimenting, is the mental exercise. Okay, then chickens cost 50p each. Ducks cost £3 each. Turkeys cost £10 each. The problem is you want to buy exactly 100 birds and spend exactly £100. How many of each should you buy? 2. Special number. I've never yet had anyone give me the answer to this one. Yet it's a fairly easy problem to solve, if you look at it the right way. The number 4 is unique. In all of numberdom, there is no other number about which you can make this claim. Your task is to see if you can work out its uniqueness. I assure you this is not a trick question, it has a legitimate answer. Point 3. Figure it out. Look at these 4 prices: £3 and 16 pence, £1 and 20 pence, £1 and 25, £1 and 50 pence. Now look again, think about them, work with them, and try to work out why they are unique, or what's unusual about them. If you don't want a hint, don't read any further. Look below. Clue: these are prices of items I found in a 7-Eleven store. ANSWERS 1. 94 chickens at 50p each, £47, 1 duck at £3. 5 turkeys at £10 each, £50 and 20 pence. In all of numberdom, the only number that tells you how many letters it is spelled with is 4.3. The fact I found these in a 7-Eleven store is the answer. Add the 4 prices and they come to £7 and 11 pence. Multiply them and it's £7 and 11 pence. Adapted from Simple Secrets for Keeping Your Brain Young, by Harry Lorraine Robinson, 2007-2017. To order a copy for £7.99, visit mailbookshop.co.uk. Books a call 844-571-0640. PP is free on orders over £15. Are valid until December 14, 2017.